Hey everybody, Cinis here, bringing you a little bit of bonus content from one of my all-clans runs. So this is a volatile gauge Inferno run with a bit of a unique optimization. A bit of spoilers, although they're probably already in the title, is that this run is going to use not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 Inferno Strats to kill Serra. Since volatile gauge draws 8 cards per turn by base, we've obviously got a pretty big upgrade on our normal amount of draw. So I can use that to shrink the deck down and ignore adding Holdover, which is a pretty powerful capability. Also, sorry for the laggy footage, this is just OBS doing OBS things. I'm not exactly sure why this happens, unfortunately, but it's probably still watchable. So I don't see any energy siphons, and I'm wondering if this strategy will work. So if I don't get Holdover, then I'm going to opt instead to purge down like crazy. And not use Holdover at all, basically. And I'm not going to bother re-rolling for Holdover just because I think it's safer. It would have been there, but I just go for 1-cost Inferno instead. And it turned out fine, although it probably would have been faster to just do Holdover like normal. In Gauge, it's kind of hard to parse exactly where everything is, so if I get Energy Siphon, I'm going to have a hard time with that. And also, this run doesn't work well with Energy Siphon anyway, because it's much more costly than it usually is. Because it's guaranteed to be at 0 cost normally, whereas that's definitely not the case here. I'm guaranteed to draw Inferno like 2 in every 3 hands at this point, which is already a pretty big deal. So I'm going to duplicate Inferno, and now we're up to 2 Inferno Strats before we even get to Daedalus, and uniquely, both of them are playable. Normally, when you dupe an Inferno before Daedalus, you've got only 3 energy, and thus can't play 2 2-cost Infernos like you might otherwise be able to, but here, that is not the case. So we've got 1 Inferno, and then another Inferno, and all of these Infernos are always going to roll into either 1 or 0 energy, because they're 3 costs normally, and their cost is reduced by 2. So even if a Volatile Gauge rolls 3, they will cost only 1, and if it rolls 2, 1, or 0, they will cost 0. So there's a 3 and 4 chance that they will be free completely, and a slight chance that they will cost 1, which is not the end of the world. I pull Tethys Scales here, which is a bit useful later, and then just move on. Clipped Infiltration, I can take the Trial just fine because Inferno pierces through spell shields, and I do want to take the Trial because the coins are quite important. So other than that, it's mostly just standard. Other than I don't have to worry about holding things over, so I can play exactly as many Infernos as I need on a given turn. If I have too many, I can just not play them. Not that I realize that here, apparently. I'm too used to them having Holdover. Offering Token in case I draw another Inferno, but I didn't. Would have gotten close, though, if I had played another Offering Token. But in any case, we're good. Albeit just barely, only by a single draw. Skip this, skip that. It's still worth looking for Spell Weakness, but it just wasn't offered in this run. So I had to just make do, I guess. Now for another duplication, so we're already up to 3 Infernos, 1 more than can be used in a standard run. And the fun will continue. Again, I can take the Trial here because Inferno has Piercing. And thus I don't care about armor in the slightest. I'm not sure I would anyway, honestly, considering Tethys Scales is in this run. But I definitely don't now. And here's where I'm learning that I don't have to hold everything over, I can just play as many as I need and leave the rest. And here are all 3 Infernos rolled to 0 cost. That's not as unlikely as it might look, and it probably does look pretty unlikely. But I can just ignore it. Alright, we've got removal and a Merchant of Magic. That's the dream setup, so obviously I'm going to take it. Although I'm not going to use the Merchant of Magic for Merchant of Magic things. In fact, I just choose to bypass it entirely, which in retrospect is probably a bad choice. I probably should have just purged. That's what I got all the money from the coin trials for, after all. But Gauge isn't as bad with penances as it is in some other runs, because the Infernos are almost always free, and if not free, they're one cost. So I can play things like Ultimate Penance without really having to worry about Inferno Cost. There's only a, I think, 1 in 64 chance that I couldn't play all 3 of my Infernos if just an Ultimate Penance is offered. Here's an actual use for Offering Token. Yeah, even though 2 of my Infernos are 1 cost, I still don't have to care. And that just shows you how strong Emberstone Gauge is, if you weren't already aware of that from your own runs, because it's pretty dang fun. I go for the Offering Token, but I don't get it. And that's fine. I probably shouldn't have even bothered to begin with, because I know it's safe. This run isn't particularly fast, nor is it particularly strong, and I didn't get world record on this attempt of all clans. But it's cool, and I felt like sharing the extra on-the-fly optimization with you, because I know those are probably pretty fun to watch. So I hope y'all enjoy this. And now I'm down to 3 Infernos and a Frozen Lance. And in this fight, I'm actually going to pick up a dropped Inferno with no upgrades. And you'll see that that is actually safe to do. And the reason that it's safe is just that I've got 4 energy, and the Infernos are only rarely going to be rolling 2 or 3. Again, it's very rare that my upgraded Infernos will even cost 1, let alone multiple of them doing that. So I can pretty safely just play them out, even though I will have 4 of them upgraded and then the unupgraded one by this point. And you'll see how well that works in the Serra Fight. In Nephil, it's a bit scarier because I don't have as much time to kill Nephil. Only 3 turns as opposed to like 10 I can use on Seraph. Much less flexibility, but thankfully I survive. And I'm realizing I don't really care as much about reducing the cost of that Inferno as I do about getting another one, for the reasons I outlined earlier. And then I just dip out of the Vortex, and I've got a champion and 5 Infernos. That's the entire deck. That really is just it. So now I can just play out all my Infernos every turn and kill Seraph with reasonable speed. I split a bit too early here, as you can see, but it doesn't matter considering this run didn't work anyway. But yeah, even when I get a roll into 3, I still can play it safely, and that's a 9-minute run, which is still pretty solid, albeit not my gold split, and not really that close anymore. But still, it's a cool run. And if you did enjoy it, please do like and subscribe, and if not, please comment down below with how I can improve. Have a good one.